We gather in this sacred space, made more sacred in this moment by the presence and attention of each and every one of us. Last week, someone joined us by live stream from Lyme, New Hampshire, a new part of the Granite State for me. Live streamers, wherever you are joining us from, we are so glad you are here. For our friends in the pews, let's take a moment to turn towards the camera near the welcoming congregation banner, offer some friendly greetings from our seat, and now let's turn and greet one another.
Good morning, and welcome to Winchester Unitarian Society, a truly awesome place, a wellspring of progressive religion in the Mystic Valley. I'm Peter McEntee, a member of this congregation, and happy to serve as your worship associate today. Unitarian Universalism is a religion without a creed. We come from many different religious backgrounds: Christians, Jews, Zoroastrians, even atheists like myself. What unites us is not a list of required beliefs, but a collection of agreed upon principles that guide us as we live our lives in this community and in the world. After today's worship service, all are invited for coffee and conversation in the Sims room, right back there in the back of the sanctuary. This morning, we offer a special welcome to Barry Singer, our guest director of music. John Kramer is out of town to play a piano concert in Pennsylvania, I believe. So we're delighted to welcome Barry back to the piano bench. Thank you for being with us this morning. We thank Sheila Rudolph Correa, who is stepping in for Donna Reed as pastoral care associate. Donna is under the weather. Feel better, Donna, and thank you, Sheila. This is also a unique service, as from time to time, the parish minister and the worship associates switch roles. Today's service is led by WIS member and worship associate Stephen Parapellick, with Reverend Heather and I serving as worship associates. And now, let us open our hearts and minds to the spirit of worship, as Stephen offers these words by William Martin.
Good morning. Do not strive for an ordinary life, an extraordinary life. Such striving may seem admirable, but it is the way of foolishness. Instead, find the wonder and the marvel of an ordinary life. Delight in the joy of tasting tomatoes apples and pears, and fresh oysters. Cry when pets and people die. Feel the infinite pleasure in the touch of a hand, and make the ordinary come alive. The extraordinary will take care of itself.
I now invite Deb Walsh to help us light our chalice.
Today's words for our chalice lighting are from Maria Popova. We were never promised any of it, this world of cottonwoods and clouds, when the Big Bang set the possible in motion. And yet here we are, atoms with consciousness, each of us a living improbability, forged of chaos and dead stars. In amazement of this common miracle, we light our chalice.
And now please rise in body or in spirit and join in singing hymn number 38 in the gray hymnal, Morning Has Broken.
I would like to invite those who are young and young at heart to come forward for a story. Good morning. I know there's more than 2 of you here today. Come on up. You can bring it with you. Come on up. Good morning. Good morning. So I want to ask you something. We know that grown-ups can be good at things, right? Grown-ups can be good at things. Sometimes they do some things better than kids can. Maybe like driving and paying for stuff, right? They do that a little bit better, right? Yeah. So what are some other things that you think grown-ups maybe do better than kids? Piper? It's hard to think of something, isn't it? Zara? Driving properly, yeah. Anything else that grown-ups maybe do a little better than kids? Timothy? Keep your kids safe. That's a good one. Jeremiah?
Getting into car crashes.
Getting into car crashes? That doesn't sound like a good thing. Oh, okay. Piper, anything else? Anything else, Piper? Olsen? Do they cook dinner, babe? Two things. Okay, what? Cooking dinner. And? Having kids. They do that way better than kids, don't they? Yeah, so much better. Kids can't have kids. That's a good one, Olsen. Okay. So those are all good examples. Grown-ups are better at some things. Kids are better at some things too, though, right? What are some things that kids are better at than grown-ups? Have a seat. Have a seat right here. What are some things that kids are better at? Zara? What's that? Getting underfoot. Yeah, we all know how good they are at that. Yeah. Timothy? What's something kids are better at? Ooh, begging the parents to go to the swap shop to get a new toy. That's oddly specific. I think that may have happened recently. Piper? Getting really fast? Oh, okay. Yeah, because, fat. Kids are good at getting fat? Wow. All right. That is true because they need to bulk up so they can grow really tall, right? Jeremiah, what were you going to say?
Type 2 diabetes because they have
Kids?
too much candy.
Kids get diabetes from too much candy. Okay. All right. Now we're getting a little bit silly. All right. So
I can get silly.
there's some. Okay. Yes. Thank you. All right. So there is something else that kids are better at than grown-ups. And this is a super important thing. In fact, grown-ups are always saying how they rely on kids to remind them how to do this thing better. Can anyone guess what that thing is? What is it? Good memory. Good memory. Okay, that is something I rely on my kids for. What else, Olsen? Playing, yeah. Piper? Okay. Piper, can you remember? Love. Ooh, that's a good one. Okay, so those are all good things that kids are great at. The super important thing that I'm thinking about is awe. Listen up. There's a word we use when we find something to be really great, right? Yeah. Has anyone heard someone say, "That's awesome"? Yeah? We say that a lot when we're just happy about something, right? Like an extra piece of bubble gum, great, right? Like awesome, right? But awe really means more than that. It means that we feel wonder and surprise and delight and maybe even a little bit of fear sometimes about something. Now, I don't know if you know this, but kids are born able to feel awe. You all were born able to feel awe about things. You are all experts. As we get older, though, we start to lose that ability. Don't get me wrong, those things aren't less awesome. We grown-ups just stop being able to feel it as much as you kids do. Right. So most everyone is going on vacation this week. Are you all going on vacation this week from school? Are you on vacation from school? Oh. Oh, yeah. Sometimes kids will laugh and grown-ups don't like it, right? Yeah. Okay. So here's what I'd like you to do while you're on vacation. Spend as much time with your grown-ups as you can. Show them all of the awesomeness that you can find this week. So I want you to be experts on awesomeness all week. Can you do that, Olsen? Can you be an expert on awesomeness this week? Yeah, and maybe, just maybe, they'll start to become better at feeling awe. But of course, no matter what, you all will be the most awesome. All right, so I invite the grown-ups to sing the children and teachers to religious education. The words are in your order of service. Me and Naomi are teachers.
We now come to the centering time in our service, quieting our hearts and minds, first through words and then ritual, kindling of the light, a time to light a candle of personal joy, sorrow, or concern, either here at the candle table or at home. At that time, if you would like a candle brought to you, please raise your hand. During the kindling of the light, I will light a candle for Dennis Brett, who sustained a fall near his seasonal home in Florida. He's currently in the hospital. We've been in touch with his wife, Cindy, offering our support from afar. We will keep the community posted as more is known about his recovery. Our hearts go out to him, to Cindy, and to their family and many friends in this challenging time. After we kindle the light, we will be together in a time of shared silence, out of which we will sing hymn number 142 in the gray hymnal, Let There Be Light. We begin with a poem by Ada Limon, Dead Stars. She writes, out here, there's a bowing, even the trees are doing. Winter's icy hand at the back of all of us. Black bark, slick yellow leaves, a kind of stillness that feels so mute, it's almost in another year. I am a hearth of spiders these days, a nest of trying. We point out the stars that make Orion as we take out the trash, the rolling containers, a song of suburban thunder. It's almost romantic as we adjust the waxy blue recycling bin until you say, man, we should really learn some new constellations. And it's true. We keep forgetting about Antilla, Centaurus, Draco, Lacerta, Hydra, Lyra, Lynx. But mostly we're forgetting we're dead stars too. My mouth is full of dust and I wish to reclaim the rising. To lean in the spotlight of streetlight with you toward what's larger within us, toward how we were born. Look, we are not unspectacular things. We have come this far, survived this much. What would happen if we decided to survive more, to love harder? What if we stood up with our synapses and flesh and said no, no to the rising tides? Stood for many mute mouths of the sea, of the land. What would happen if we used our bodies to bargain for the safety of others, for Earth? If we declared a clean night, if we stopped being terrified? If we launched our demands into the sky, made ourselves so big, people could point to us with the arrows they made in their minds, rolling their trash bins out after all of this is over? Let us now kindle the light. This morning's reading is by Clark Wells. You be glad at that star. Several years ago, and shortly after twilight, our 3.5-year-old tried to gain his parents' attention to a shining star. The parents were busy with time and scheduled, the irritabilities of the day and other worthy preoccupations. Yes, yes, we see the star. Now I'm busy, don't bother me. On hearing this, the young one launched through the porch door, fixed us with a fiery gaze, and said, "You be glad at that star." I will not forget the incident or his perfect words. It was one of those rare moments when you get everything you need for the good of your soul: reprimand, disclosure, and blessing. It was especially good for me, that surprising moment, because I am one who responds automatically and negatively to the usual exhortations to pause and be more appreciative of life, unquote. Fortunately, I was caught grandly off guard. There is a notion with some truth in it that we cannot command joy, happiness, appreciation, fulfillment. We do not engineer the seasons of the soul or enjoin the quality of mood in another. And yet, I do believe there is right and wisdom in that imperative declaration, "You be glad at that star." If we cannot impel ourselves into stellar gladness, we can at least clean the dust from the lens of our perception. If we cannot dictate our own fulfillment, we can at least steer in the right direction. If we cannot exact a guarantee for a more appreciative awareness of our world, for persons and stars and breathing and tastes and the incalculable gift of every day, we can at least prescribe some of the conditions through which an increased awareness is more likely to open up the skies for us and for our children. It is not always the great evils that obstruct and waylay our joy. It is our unnecessary and undignified surrender to the petty enemies, and I suggest it is our duty to scheme against them and make them subservient to human decree. Time and schedules, our irritabilities of the day, and other worthy preoccupations, matters more subtle and humane should command our lives. You be glad at that star.
Wow, thank you, choir. What a perfect anthem for today's topic. It's good to be here with you this morning, to share my thoughts and to be among friends. For the record, this is my second reflection. So here we go. AWE. Awe has the power to transform us, to awaken us to the interconnectedness of all things, to inspire us to live with greater compassion and kindness, and to remind us of our place in the vast tapestry of existence. Basically, awe is awesome. The idea for this reflection began about a year ago. I was in the Adirondacks in upstate New York, a place I've loved for many years. I happened to notice a flyer mentioning that last week's solar eclipse would be passing directly over the area we frequently visit. We'd be right smack in the middle of the path of totality. So I immediately knew my partner Terry and I would return. However, given that I had agreed to deliver this reflection, I needed it to be amazing. Unfortunately, it was. Truthfully, awe is a tricky word. It's hard to define, it's highly prone to misuse and exaggeration, especially these days. There are probably many of you in the sanctuary who remember the good old days when the word awesome used to mean something. Am I right? But what exactly is awe? How do we cultivate awe in our lives? How do we open ourselves up to the wonder and mystery that surrounds us? According to Dacher Keltner, a psychologist at Berkeley, awe is the feeling of perceived vastness that transcends your understanding of the world. In his book called Awe, The New Science of Everyday Wonder and How It Can Transform Your Life, Keltner says that while awe is often about something special, it can also be felt in simpler, ordinary situations. It can be identified, practiced, and made more accessible to everyone. I'm intrigued by the ordinariness of awe and became inspired to explore the meaning of it, how I might practice it and be aware of it in my day-to-day experiences more often. This is new for me until I began thinking and reading about awe and trying to understand it just a little bit better. I primarily associated awe with dramatic or even life-changing events, such as being in the presence of a world landmark, seeing an amazing performance, basically something out of the ordinary. I didn't think too much about awe as part of my everyday life. My understanding is shifting. I now feel that experiencing awe comes from both a perceived vastness, as well as situations that challenge me to experience something with a different sense of awareness or even reverence. In other words, awe can be equally triggered from moments like standing at the rim of the Grand Canyon, as well as witnessing a simple act of kindness between two strangers. In broader terms, awe is about imagining the courage of someone like Harriet Tubman, a hero of mine, or the optimism of a friend taking a chance and going on a blind date, or the gentle squeeze of your partner's hand the moment before surgery. Some interesting facts I came across about awe you too might find interesting. Most people experience awe on average 2 or 3 times a week. Awe often occurs when people walk or move together in a group. This makes sense when you think of all the dances and rituals that involve moving in unison. Less privileged people are more likely to experience awe than the well-heeled, and researchers aren't sure why. 20% of feelings of awe are related to feeling threatened or observing others being threatened or endangered, probably because we can't help but imagine ourselves in the same situation, and it causes us to become awestruck. Honestly, I was very eager to experience the recent eclipse and hoped it would live up to what I had heard about other people's reactions to prior eclipses. I learned that about 40% of people cry, and nearly everyone reports feeling strong bursts of emotion and lingering heightened emotional states that can make people feel more curious and connected to others. Given all the recent news coverage, you too have probably heard about eclipse chasers who travel around the world to experience them. And now I get it. Or maybe some of you also headed north to experience it for yourselves. Of course, with an event like an eclipse, there are so many factors involved. The collected, shared experience across a huge geographical area, the strangeness and speed of an altered reality, and the unavoidable awareness that we're all on this orbiting blue boat. We're presented with tangible evidence, even for just a few minutes, of our place within an infinite universe. I would describe my experience viewing the eclipse as intense, though I didn't cry. Even as the moment approached toward totality, I kept thinking it was odd how much light from the sun was still visible. But suddenly, as the moment approached, it immediately became almost dark. We felt a cold breeze. I was overcome with a sense of disorientation and astonishment when it was okay to remove the glasses and observe the corona. It was just outstanding. I even had several involuntary gasps and felt a bit fluttery or lighthearted for a while after it was over, just as I had learned happens to others. I tried to capture the moment in a photo, which I shared in this week's highlights, but it doesn't come close to being there. Despite the fact that opportunities for experiencing awe without taking a day off to see an eclipse are everywhere, in reality, awe is not always easy to come by. In a world filled with distractions and demands, it can be all too easy to lose sight of the miracles all around us. We may find ourselves caught up in the busyness of our lives, rushing from one task to the next without pausing to appreciate what is right in front of us. We all sometimes need that little boy in today's reading who reminds us to be glad at that star. Before the eclipse, as I prepared for today, I began to reflect intentionally about awe and how to cultivate it more frequently. It's a reason why I wanted to deliver this reflection. So I decided to do an inventory of sorts. I recently listened to a podcast where Jane Fonda, who happens to be 86, talks about what she referred to as her third act. During the interview, Jane explained that when she was 60, she decided to take stock of her life, her career, marriage, family, and health, in order to figure out the remaining 30 years of her life. By the way, the odds are pretty good she'll make it to 90. And sidebar for all the 90-something people out there today, Jane is now contemplating her fourth act. But I'll be turning 60 in a few months, so I've been taking stock for my third act. That is an entirely separate reflection, but one of the things I did was to really ponder the different phases of my life, my adult life, as best I could, and make a list of all the experiences, big and small, that stood out, both good and bad. Experiences when I recalled feeling a sense of awe, wonder, enchantment, gratitude, and even threatened. Here are just a few entirely random selected items from that list, with emphasis on random. Occasionally catching a glimpse of my partner, Terry, doing something simple like cooking or napping or playing with our dogs. I can't believe we're celebrating our 31st anniversary this week. Awesome. Having lunch in one of the watchtowers at the Great Wall of China. Crossing the finish line of the Cape Cod and New York City marathons. Pure satisfaction. Seeing the look on my sister's face in a photo immediately after she gave birth to my niece. Her joyful expression gave me goosebumps. It still does. It looked like someone had just whispered to her the secret of life. Every time I see the New York City skyline, especially the view from the Amtrak train as it crosses Queens, that feeling I get when a plane has just lifted off the runway. Noticing the aging process in the faces of friends. Being in Lower Manhattan on September 11th. Solving the Wordle puzzle, not once, but twice on the first try. admiration about my parents' 66-year marriage, listening with close friends to Joni Mitchell singing Both Sides Now, seeing the Alvin Ailey Dance Company's performance of Lazarus. You can even watch it on YouTube. Caressing our first dog as he passed away in my arms. Many moments with all of you in this sanctuary. I could go on and on. So one more. Pistachio ice cream. I share this list with the hope that some of you might do the same. I was astonished at the sheer length of my list. I deliberately tried to pick random items to share with you today, but I also felt intense gratitude, a kind of grace and serenity in completing that exercise. My awe inventory corresponds to the research I encountered. Keltner and his team interviewed and surveyed hundreds of people across the globe, and one of their major findings is that when people experience moments of awe, we are inspired to live with greater compassion and gratitude. Regardless of whatever elicits awe, people tend to feel smaller, self-important, less important, and behave in more pro-social ways. Awe might cause people to become more invested in the greater good, giving more to charity, volunteering in their communities, or doing more to lessen their impact on the environment. Sounds a lot like wuss. Perhaps awe serves a vital social function. If you're like me and you wish to seek more awe in your life, Keltner and other researchers I read mentioned that one of the easiest, most relatable ways involves the simple act of witnessing goodness of others, the awe of altruism. When we see others doing small gestures like helping an older person to cross the street, we start feeling better and are also more likely to perform good deeds ourselves. So remember to pay attention to your friendly Uber driver or grocery store clerk, and try to seek out daily moments of kindness with strangers. This awe of altruism, in particular, is something I've experienced all my life, but I didn't really understand it. For example, recently I've been amazed by the sense of determination and courage of Alexei Navalny. Addressing why he chose to go back to Russia to face almost certain imprisonment and eventual death, Navalny said remaining in exile felt like a betrayal of his cause. I am in awe of Navalny. Or perhaps some of you went to see the movie One Life with Anthony Hopkins, who portrays Nicholas Winton, someone who helped rescue hundreds of Jewish children from Czechoslovakia before the Nazi occupation closed the borders. Seeing that movie about Winton made me feel awe. Closer to home, being a part of this congregation has provided opportunities to experience altruistic awe. My most consistent example involves the support and love shown by a small care team for an elder member of our church. The love and support that this group shows has touched and changed me. I don't mean to suggest that awe is a one-size-fits-all thing. I just happen to be one of those people that is inclined to the awe of altruism. Your spark may result from engaging in practices like meditation, prayer, being in nature, exercising, or singing in a choir. Back to the eclipse. As big a deal as the eclipse was, in the weeks since it happened, it occurred to me that each day is its own awe-inspiring astrological event. The sun rises, the moon appears. Sometimes we might even see a shooting star in the dark, clear sky. When this simple truth dawned on me, pun intended, it felt ironic that it took an event like the eclipse and preparing for today to remind me of that. I want to try to approach life with fresh eyes, to find beauty and meaning in the most ordinary situations. I know this sounds impossible and even a bit too aspirational, but I plan to at least try. Catherine May explains this perfectly in her book, Enchantment. Seeking awe is a kind of work, she says. I don't mean heading off on wild road trips to see the stars that are shining above your own roof. I mean committing to a lifetime of engagement, to noticing the world around you, to actively looking for small distillations of beauty, to making time to contemplate and reflect, to putting your bare feet on the ground every now and then and feeling the tingle of life beneath you. It's all there, waiting for our attention. May we all experience awe and wonder more often, a sense of reverence for the beauty and the mystery of existence, of sunrises and sunsets, of our place in the cosmos and in our neighborhoods and with the people we're closest to. Let us seek out moments of appreciation and share them with one another, knowing that in doing so, we strengthen the bonds of community and deepen our connections. I know I can become better at doing just that. I'll close now with a quote from the poet T.S. Eliot. "We shall not cease from exploration, and the end of all our exploring will be to arrive where we started and know the place for the first time." You be glad at that star. You be glad at that, and fill in the blank. Thank you.
The offering has a practical purpose, but also a spiritual one. Our donations serve as a tangible sign of our commitment to this community and to the principles that we stand for. To this end, our congregation has long made it our practice to share 1/2 of all funds collected each Sunday that are not otherwise designated with other organizations whose goals are aligned with our values. This morning, we share our gifts with the Massachusetts chapter of the International Dark Sky Association, a nonprofit organization working to address light pollution and protect the night skies for the present and for future generations. Here are the different ways you can donate. Those in the sanctuary may place cash, checks, coins, or patentable intellectual property in the collection plate as it comes around, or you can donate electronically. Just send a text message to the number listed in your order of service, or visit our website under the Giving page. If you're visiting for the first time, either in person or online, you are our guest. In-person attendees can find a physical visitor card in the pew racks in front of you. Please complete it and put it in the collection plate. Information about how to give online and how to complete the virtual visitor card will soon be shared with live stream attendees through text on the screen. Your generously given offering will now be gratefully received. Those who wish to do so are invited to join in the unison affirmation. We gather not for ourselves alone, but to use our common power to build the beloved community within and beyond these walls. We create and reaffirm this covenant this day, to make justice flourish, to practice compassion amidst difference, and to embody transformative love. And now please rise in body or in spirit to sing hymn number 139 in the gray hymnal, Wonders Still the World Shall Witness.
What we do in this world means something. Our actions burst meaningfully and radically through time and space, changing everything. Our lives, no matter how insignificant they may sometimes feel, are replete with meaning and the potential for wonder and of vast consequence, and they constantly have impact upon the unfolding story of the world, whether we know it or not. You are awesome.
Please say with me the words for extinguishing the chalice. We extinguish not this flame, but the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. This service is ended, but our life of service continues. Let's continue our conversation in the Sims room.